Before we get into today's episode, I have one thing I want to talk about real quick. During the recording of this episode, we were having some technical difficulties, so this episode was edited down more and there's a little bit more jump cuts in this one. But besides that, today we have a very special guest. He's a signature guitarist with Zeru Guitars, musician influencer on all platforms, and the CEO of Shredfest in Toronto, Canada. Welcome, Justus Hajas, to Harmonic Conversations. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm a super big fan of you. It's an honor to have you on Harmonic Conversations.
That's super kind of you, man. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So how I usually start this out is I have 5 or 6 baseline questions just to break the ice, get the conversation going, and then I have 11 deeper questions to go through.
Sick.
So we'll start with the easy icebreaker questions. And the first one I want to ask, which seems to be a very big controversy on my podcast.
Right.
Do you like Fruity Pebbles or Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Oh, how is that even controversial at all? If you're not Cinnamon Toast Crunch gang, then you're not with it. I think Fruity Pebbles is cool, but it's like I don't know, it's just too artificial. Like you got the cinnamon, you got the crunch, you got the sugar. Like I could eat 3 bowls of that, and that's been like the classic since I was a kid. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Fruity Pebbles is a bigger American thing. I don't even know if we have to like. Is Fruity Pebbles in Canada? We have like I'm pretty sure it is. It's just I don't think it's as popular here.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I believe if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Fruity Pebbles is a big one. I mean, you got your Lucky Charms. I like if I'm gonna go with a sugary cereal, I'm gonna go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch every time too.
Absolutely. That's
Very
a valid
crunchy.
response. How long have you been playing music? What got you into it? What were some of the biggest things that drove you to pursue music?
So, yeah, I've been actually, I think, I'm close to my 10-year guitar anniversary, which I'm excited to celebrate, which is, I think I'm more hyped for than even my own birthdays. But, I
Very
started around when I
nice.
was like 12 or 13. Um, my father was, a music producer. He was a recording engineer. I grew up in and
Oh,
out of
gotcha.
studios my whole early childhood, but I thought a majority of it was like lame. I just wanted to like play video games, and I was big into like rap music when I was super super young.
Hmm.
But it was really just a random thing. I thought it would kind of make my dad happy if I picked up the guitar, and like at the time I was like, if I'm gonna have a shot with any girls, I should probably have something to offer, and I thought guitar was gonna be that. And
Yeah.
I picked it up, and I just instantly became more interested in the guitar than anything else. It was just one of those things where I played it, and I started playing every day for 5 minutes, and that turned into 10 minutes, and that turned into an hour, and that turned into me
Hmm.
going into college for guitar, and now it consuming my life to sometimes an unhealthy point. But like that's how it started. But of course, like what really pushed me towards like the rabbit hole were, some, core foundation artists. Like even in video games, and I talk about this periodically. And sometimes the content I make is just genuinely like some of the early Call of Duty tunes using Avenged Sevenfold's music. That
Hmm.
that altered the direction of my life. Like hearing, Welcome to the Family, Shepherd of Fire, Carry On
Oh,
at
yeah.
the end of the campaign series in Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 was the big one for me. And it was like one of those things that I actually heard those songs before I got into guitar, and I started playing guitar, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. These
Yeah.
are guitar related things, right? That and like Jimi Hendrix kind of got me into like
Absolutely.
the idea of playing electric guitars. I was hearing a lot of music from my father and his girlfriend at the time, and I was like, oh, this kind of blues stuff is cool, and it made me want to go from the first acoustic I had into playing electric. But yeah, no, Avenged Sevenfold was the big catalyst, which just pushed me into more crazy conceptual music, getting into Dream Theater, Jason Richardson, Polyphia, around
Oh
like
yeah.
2016, 2017, um, and so on, 2018 probably too. But yeah, no, it's just filed from there. That's like the best like overall. I could if you want some specifics, I'm here all day. But yeah, no, that's definitely the catalyst that kind of got me into it, and then like what got me down the rabbit hole playing a lot of that style of music that I predominantly play now.
So since we're kind of talking about video games, another big question that I've been asking people on the podcast is video games, movies, TV shows, which one in your opinion has the best either soundtrack, sound design, or the best opening theme song?
What has the best theme song? Is that the question, or just what's the best in general?
So it kind of depends. It really depends on whatever you're feeling. For TV
Right,
shows, it's more like the theme song, and
right,
then movies, it's more like the soundtracks. Like I always throw up
right.
School of Rock as one of the best
Oh,
movies
classic.
for soundtracks.
Classic.
And
Such
then
is,
it's
I mean, I think with a lot of like the visual mediums, it's definitely more like about uh the the representation of like life in general, like
mhm.
School of Rock, because that was a super influential movie for me as well, growing up. Um,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
I have a story about that as well, but um. The I feel like as far as overall artistic, like where it exceeds is probably in video games because you're dealing with so many mediums at once, right? You're dealing with,
Mhm.
environment building from the ground up. You're dealing with the actual soundtrack, how that soundtrack is integrated into the playing experience, as well as the sound design for the interaction as far as what, the whatever you're playing is doing, right? And
Absolutely.
how those all those different mediums kind of cascade into each other. There's a lot that goes into it, and I mean, the budgets and people like there's endless teams for whether it's movies, TV, or video games. But I'm like as far as like what I'd be impressed by is video games because of how many moving parts there are. Like,
Mhm.
being probably you are probably familiar with it because you probably deal with a lot of metal musicians, but the zeitgeist of how every metal person has been influenced by the Doom series. Everything that Mick
Yep.
Gordon does as far as sound design, taking the soundtrack and making sure that, oh, this chain gun is tuned to an F sharp. So I should probably make sure that, when I'm playing this one game, I should tune it to an F sharp rather than an F, for
Mhm.
literally just because of how the tone of one gun is shooting. And he's literally
Yeah.
just designing the background music, which is such a key. It's not back. It's almost a shame to call it background music because it's not. It literally dictates of how you feel. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's video games has it for me on that side. And yeah, the Doom soundtrack crazy, and of course we're talking about Call of Duty. For me, it's like I think Call
Mhm.
of Duty has great like sound design and sound effects and whatnot, but for me, of course, it's like the art, the music placements, like really anything before Black Ops
Yeah.
4. I got to be honest though, like for talking about like overall, like I do got to be honest, and like I'm really, to be fair, honestly, I'm pretty young, but I prefer older video games. Like by older, I mean anything like before 2021, really. I am
Yeah,
pretty addicted to
absolutely.
Battlefield right now, especially Battlefield 6. I'm big on the grind.
Yeah.
You know, I'm big on that one. But yeah, that's the overall in that one. I video games all day. That's a lot of my students ask me because I teach a lot as well. They're like, "Do you do anything besides like play guitar?" Like I play video games. Like that's it. I'm like that's it. You don't do other things. I'm like, no, I just play video games and guitar. I'm sorry, I'm not that interested.
Absolutely. Those are some great picks. Like it's definitely some games like I don't really think about as
Mm,
having great music, and
mm,
then you bring it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, there are some pretty good songs in those games.
At least in my opinion, you can argue so many different things, especially movie soundtracks, like getting addicted to like Hans Zimmer's scores, right? For anything, the amount of impact that
Yeah.
has on culture and even just like your brain as a kid listening to theme songs of like Pirates of the Caribbean, the Dark Knight series, or even older Batman
Mm-hmm.
stuff with uh oh my God, Oingo Boingo guy, or who am I talking about? Danny Elfman in the older Batman,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah series, yeah.
What were some of the biggest influences that paved the road for the way you play guitar today?
I can definitely see like a linear line. Like some of the people I was mentioning earlier was definitely Jimi Hendrix got me into the right direction as far as the excitement, the energy, and the fact of playing the electric guitar. Like, because I started out on acoustic because it made, I don't know, that I was in the acoustic section. I guess I started on kind of a whim, I would say, but yeah, no, I pushed towards like a more rock feel with Jimi Hendrix, but as I was getting into more
Mm-hmm.
video games, again, Avenged Sevenfold really changed my
Yep.
life. So I spent a really good solid amount of years trying to sound like Sinister Gates, as a lot of guitar players have done. Because he had a huge grip on a lot of early 2010s preteens as far as guitar playing goes. So I spent a lot of years trying to play exactly like him, and a lot of other bands
Mm-hmm.
around there like Slipknot. I've learned an
Oh
ungodly
yeah.
amount of Slipknot riffs. Um, those were the two big ones as far as like early teenagers, and then I feel like whether you're in metal or not, there's like a lot of different gateways that you can fall down into the rabbit hole, and that's like the heavy side and the technical side, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
for like from Slipknot, I was like, oh, this is heavy, and then you start getting into deathcore, and then all these other things that just get heavier and heavier. But on the other hand, I was trying to get more technical stuff, getting into bands like Dream Theater, and especially
Mm-hmm.
Jason Richardson, who I had learned more material of than Dream Theater. I loved listening to Dream Theater, and I've seen them many, many times, but I find learning their stuff never was exciting or fun, where I felt like some of the solo guitar players and just guitar focused stuff was a lot more exciting at the time, like the earlier Polyphia records and Aaron Marshall's intervals, getting into that world. Because once you're kind of there, you kind of fall into a huge rabbit hole of everything that was, early modern stuff, the periphery.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, after those kind of like main artists, it really came to a point where um, I wanted to have the influences more in me listening to them rather than me learning their material, if that makes sense. Because I feel like your
Yeah.
taste will dictate your playing rather than just the technique. After you spend so much time developing technique, whether it's um, playing your favorite songs by artists, or going to music schools, or having teachers, which I've had my hand in a lot of those areas of getting lessons or not getting lessons, and being self-taught, not being self-taught. I I found that once you reach a certain point, it's way more rewarding and way more refreshing to really just be writing, and even as a
Mm-hmm.
teacher, creating exercises that challenge yourself. Because at the end of the day, once you get to a certain point, you just know where you fall short. And
Yeah.
I think once you get into teaching the guitar, you also start to are able to help dictate yourself more as well, in kind of an odd way. I used to do this a lot in some of the first songs that I released. If I knew there was a technique I was not that great at, I would write music using that technique so that I would force myself to improve, basically. Because if I can't play it,
Mm-hmm.
then like what the hell, right? So that was a
Yeah.
big thing, like writing using techniques that I really couldn't um I didn't excel at, right? Like it's not that I couldn't play them because I was able to record them, but it was like
Mm-hmm.
I have to spend a lot of time just to be able to play this once and record it once good, which forces you to be able to play it well live, or use it, you know, over and over, playing through more and more songs, depending. But yeah, that was a
Absolutely.
bit of a spiel after answering the main question. But yeah, a lot of prog guitarists, again, Sinister Gates, Jimi Hendrix, Jason Richardson, and then again, big on Polyphia, but I have learned like maybe less, like probably half a Polyphia song. Again, I'm big into listening to artists, less
Yeah.
learning music, especially probably in the past like 4 years.
The next question I got for you is, what's a song that you love that people would be shocked to hear that you listen to? Your guilty pleasure song.
Oh, I got to be honest. Wait, should I refrain from swearing on this podcast?
No, you are all good, dude. Be
Okay,
yourself.
I
You're
am
all good.
I'm a musical genre slut. I got to be honest. I love
Yeah.
many genres. I have a lot of guilty pleasures, but I'm only half guilty about them. I got to be honest. I love Steel Panther. I love the I
Ooh.
Yeah, they're raunchy. They're horrible as far as like
Mm-hmm.
lyrics go, but they do this weird thing where they're kind of memeing on a certain styles of 80s and 90s rock, but they do it
Yeah.
just as well, if not better. With this, it's just full comedic value, and I haven't seen them live. But yeah, I'm big into them. I love hyperpop music. I love some artists like Breakin, Siglav, Eric Doa, anything that's really heavy
Mm-hmm.
sound design, combined with guitar, ironically. And I might have to like literally pull up my playlist because I have a lot of different tunes that I like. My internet, as we know, is not working the best right now. Um, but I am stalling. But yeah, a lot of like those artists. I do like some pop. I do like some rap. Um, that's again, if I'm trying to get my playlist to work because I feel like I have so many. Like literally, one
Yeah.
sec. I'm gonna find some stuff that I'm able to like fess up, and I'll be like, you know what, actually, yeah, I do. I like Pink Panthers. I'm not gonna lie. I like some weird some like yeah, I do like some weird stuff. I can't lie. I okay, I fucking love Nickelback. I always have loved Nickelback.
Okay.
That's a Yeah, that's less guilty. I love dubstep. I love Skrillex. That's yeah. That those are some like solid guilty pleasures that I would definitely fess up to for sure.
Gotcha. Nickelback, like, I know people don't really like, they say they don't like Nickelback, but
Exactly.
then people love Nickelback. It's the same thing with
Okay.
Creed. Like, Creed
Oh
is
yeah,
that same realm.
Creed. Yeah, Creed is the same, but they didn't get the knife of the internet. Back
Yeah.
when memes were just becoming a thing on the internet. Nickelback was also getting memed at the same time, right? They put out some
Yeah.
phenomenal music, right? That is just perfect for driving, man. But they just really what happened, right, is they got like three songs that were phenomenal and were constantly
Mm-hmm.
circling on the radio. People low-key got sick of them, and that's what happens when anything gets super popular. There's always a little bit of a backlash, but because of just the
Yeah.
uniqueness of the early internet memeing, pretty much, they got put on the
Yeah.
on a basically a hate wagon. And honestly, it's crazy nowadays. Everyone is different. Like really, like the people who say, "Oh, Nickelback sucked," it's like their tune has changed. Like a lot of people, they're starting to do some weird commercials. Though I got to be honest, with like Cheetos and Megan the Stallion, I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
like too much. But who doesn't like their money? Who doesn't? What artist doesn't like their money? We all take money
You're
to
right.
say
You're
stuff,
right.
Yeah, I love Nickelback.
Kind of in the same vein a little bit. If you were stranded on an island, what is a single album that would keep you sane until rescue?
Keep me sane. Keep me sane. That's a difficult one because there's always multiple ways you can approach that if you're wanting to just have the longest album of like music you could keep listening to, or just stuff that's
Yeah.
like your favorites. But at the end of the day, you have to go with like an album that you could be happy like listening on repeat, right? If I was on an
Mm-hmm.
island, I feel like yeah. I'd have to go with something Avenged Sevenfold. I'd either have to go
Oh yeah.
I'd have to go self-titled, the White Album, because I feel like it's a really good listening experience, or I'd have to go with Waking the Fallen, as it's a lot more raw, and I feel like I could go in between of
Ooh.
just closing my eyes in a dark cave, listening to that album, and then just have no music and relax on the beach if
Yeah.
if it's a good enough island. Yeah, I it's kind of weird because I yeah, again, no one likes that question because like I want to bring lots of stuff. I want to bring lots of music,
Yeah.
but we're spoiled with streaming now, so.
So that's the end of the icebreakers. We'll get into the more nitty gritty stuff. Do you remember the exact moment guitar shifted from a hobby to an obsession? And is that the reason that keeps you going today, or has that thing changed?
That's a good question. For me, I knew that the moment I wanted to get more serious about guitar was probably, um, I guess probably like the summer going in from like grade 8 to grade 9, or it was grade 9 itself. I just I knew that I was excelling in it, and it was something that was just like easy for me to do, right? People had to tell me to do my
Yeah.
homework. People had to tell me to do my chores. People had to tell me to do all these things because honestly, I just wasn't that great of a student, and um yeah, there's a lot of things I just didn't want to do, but guitar, no one ever had to tell me to practice, right? I was self-taught for a very
Mm,
number of years, but I love spending my time doing it. It was an escape from a lot of problems that I had early in life, and it was yeah, I just found myself playing it a bunch, and there was a lot of things that I saw myself because that's how, high school is set up. It's like, oh, you're in grade 9, but really by the end of grade 12, you have to choose everything that you want. And I always had that in the
yeah.
back of my mind that that's how life was painted out for kids, which is a such a weird concept to be
Mm,
normalized, but it's the truth and kind of an expectation in a way when you're that young. In practice, it's totally different. Adults nowadays go through a gajillion different jobs for whatever they do. But
yeah.
I found it being easy for me. Like again, like I barely passed math. I barely passed English courses, but for like 3 years in a row, I got the highest grade in music theory in high school, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think it was an award for the highest grade achieved for each subject, and I won the music one. It was just something I wanted to. It wasn't like a competition thing. It wasn't I had to work really hard for. It was just something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
That was again besides video games, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
it just made sense to me because there's these pressures in the back of my mind to be like, oh, I should do something that is a lot more money friendly. Like, oh, it's like maybe I should become a lawyer to impress my grandma or something. But it
Hmm.
just that wasn't in the cards for me because in my mind it was just like no matter what in life, you have to work hard and you're gonna have to do things that you don't want to do. And if I'm gonna reach for something, it should be the thing that I love the most, and that it has a
Absolutely.
natural draw for me, and that was guitar. Um,
Hmm.
but that is when it's yeah, that's when it kind of felt like a natural decision when I felt that pressure of oh, I have to start working towards something in like grade 9 and grade 10. But it's been one of those things that has just been persistent in my life, right? It's always been there. My relationship with the instrument has changed because it is something you have to maintain, right? Whether it be practicing or maintaining, because it does become an obsession depending on the kind of person you are. Are you
Yeah.
practicing more than you're taking care of yourself, right? Like there's been times in my life where I don't like I wasn't treating my health as a priority over literally
Hmm.
either playing the guitar but also the business side, whether that's content creation and
Yeah.
all these writing and all these different facets. So yeah, my relationship with it has ebbed and flowed depending on um the state of how healthy it has been, what I'm working towards, um exactly what my income is, whether I was just teaching, just music, combination, or it being brand deals for social media, all these different things, maintaining them. So yeah, did I answer the question correctly? I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Those are some very good answers. While I was deep diving everything on you, you once said you challenged yourself to listen to a new album every day in high school. What did that experiment teach you about your creativity and your taste in music?
That's a good deep dive. I don't know how many people have told that. That's a pretty good deep dive. I felt at some point, yeah, it was a as I was approaching becoming more serious about music, I felt like it was the responsibility of a professional musician to be open-minded and to have a thirst for a dynamic range of music. Um, it really taught me, honestly, the connection between all of music. And it partially
Hmm.
has to do with what that experiment, but also my experience learning about music history, both in my own time, but also in college as well. There are so many genres that are, if you look far enough back, they all kind of like hug into each other. And that really genres are just marketing tools. That's all they really are. Genres are just so they can package and sell things to a specific uh audience. That's all they are. We all
Yeah.
have rhythm and harmony, and then you find cliches. Because honestly, as much as I like, you want to honor different cultures. At some point,
Hmm.
you understand the harmony and the rhythm enough where you see, oh, these are cliches. I understand the connection between them. And of course, not just listening, but also playing them, right? It gets to a point where you just see how ingrained everything it is. And it's almost like a blessing and a curse, because it starts to dissolve what different genres are, especially when you think of like micro genres in different kinds of metal. But
Yeah.
it really taught me to continue to have an open mind for different genres, and that's something I was very passionate with all my friends as well. Like, as I said, as I said earlier in a statement, I love many genres, and that is one of the things that doing it, because it wasn't natural. I got to be honest. The first time I heard, kind of Blue by Miles Davis, I did not like it. The first time I heard Dream Theater songs, I did not like it. The first time I heard
Hmm.
Slipknot, I did not like it. But it's always on the second or third album, or once you've kind of had that first interaction, and you keep that perspective. Like, you have that initial reaction, like, oh, I don't like this, but why don't I like it? Can I find
Yeah.
something to appreciate about that, right? That was a deeper thing in that challenge, is, if I don't like this, am I able to at least find one thing I can respect or appreciate about it? And that has given
Absolutely.
me a much better objective view of music, regardless of subject. Like, oh, this is my taste. This is not my taste. That's been a big up on being objective about different kinds of music, is the connection of how they're all connected with each other, the cliches that they are, as well as, yeah, just being open minded in general.
Another thing that I found out about you that I did not know, you shattered your right hand at the age of 17 and had to rebuild
Yes.
your technique. What did that
Yes.
injury teach you about yourself, and what was something that upgraded your playing from that experience?
Great question. Yeah, broke my right hand while longboarding, because I was big into skateboarding and longboarding. Um, Probably 2019, I'd say, is probably when it was, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, no, I shattered it. Had to have surgery, which sucked. Um, 7 screws and a plate in my right hand. And
Oh.
that's when I was getting into a lot of technical music too. That's like just after, oh, I'm finally being able to play a Jason Richardson solo. Oh, I'm finally able to play a full Dream Theater song back to back. All these things that I was like, I was really getting into that. And then this
Mm.
happened, which was super
Yeah.
frustrating, right? And it happens to anyone. And anytime I see a kid on a longboard, I say, make sure you're wearing a wrist guard at least, or just stop, right?
Mhm.
Um, it taught me a couple things about myself. One, how persistent I was going to be in making sure I continued playing the guitar. It was a hard journey, for sure, to be able to balance, whether it was mental health struggles, or just being sad about not being able to do the thing that I love the most. Um,
Yeah.
I was still persistent in being able to be creative in as many aspects that I could be. One was composition, as far as exploring my taste, as I've said, into more electronic music. Um, I,
Mm-hmm.
I I I took it upon myself to try and get more into sound design and composing with MIDI. I could still play a MIDI keyboard with my left hand and program continuously in that way, which both led into some music that I hadn't released, but as well as more opportunities and influences being pushed into how I compose music and how I produce music, layering a lot more synthesizers with guitar in general, and that being bled
Mm-hmm.
into there. But a big thing for me was definitely legato. I still practiced with just my left hand, if not the same amount every day. So it was a big thing for me in my technique because I was not a legato guy. I was like sweep picking, economy picking. It was all in my right hand as
Yeah.
far as the down up and kind of, yeah, just efficiency maxing my right hand. And I had friends at the time who were playing guitar who were way better into legato, and that was mainly because of their influences, being into Steve
Mm-hmm.
Vai and some other people where just legato was their bigger bag. It kind of forced me to. I wasn't a huge fan of certain kinds of players, so I wasn't learning like material that was like, oh, legato heavy. It was just taking these exercises and figuring out how I could do them, how I could practice all my scales with just my left hand and so on, which is, yeah, a great way to approach doing it, right? Like just being productive
Yeah.
in that manner. But as soon as I got the cast off, I was strumming open chords, without my cast. I couldn't really move my wrist, but I was holding the chord and I was moving, right? And just slowly introducing my right hand. And I'm very lucky that I got full range of motion back. I was very, very lucky to make a full recovery. The only thing that it's prevented me from is going to the gym in the same way. I have to be very
Mm-hmm.
mindful of how much weight I put on it. It's really like just the maximum before it starts hurting is pretty much there. Like I don't have any consistent issues.
Gotcha.
Just sometimes it hurts. I gotta either choose. I gotta either, oh, am I gonna do arm day today, or am I gonna practice the full amount I usually do? Right. So it's no, it's true.
Yeah.
And just because it starts to hurt in that sense, but I'm very, very lucky that I was able to uh get to that same level, and of course, if not more, as far as my right hand technique. It's not like that. I've never been like, oh, if that didn't happen, I would not be able to play the things I can play. Which again, I would say is, considering how bad I broke it, I'm lucky that I can still do as much as I can do. Of course, I went to physio.
Mm-hmm.
I took proper care of it. I did play guitar the day I got my cast off, but I didn't overdo it. I slowly did more and
Yeah.
more every day. I gave myself time to recover. I wasn't playing crazy shit right off the bat. I wasn't trying to sweet pick the day I got my cast off. I did the correct approach, of course. I did be maintained, but I am very lucky in the recovery process of how I was able to get back. So I just have to be mindful about, yeah, like push-ups. Push-ups will kind of take me out for the day. Guitar playing, especially when I like if I'm teaching for 4 hours and then practicing for 3 hours, and then I want to write music for another hour. It's like when I'm playing guitar, 6 to 9 hours a day. I have to be very mindful about like the physicality of it, right? I'm wearing wrist
Yeah.
braces. Well, like for when I'm on tour, if I have to help the drummer carry a drum set, I will be wearing a wrist brace so that I'm able to get more mileage out of my hand, right? Um,
Yeah.
and it's just, yeah, again, it's just good to do those things. But anyways, it taught me how persistent I am in my passion and to overcome these challenges, right? When you have that passion and that natural draw to the instrument, you're gonna find other ways, right? If both my hands stopped working
Yeah.
today, I know I would probably become a producer or just become a singer, right? Because there's more than just the guitar, right?
Absolutely. I'm a blue collar guy. I'm a mechanic, and like I've broken my
Respect.
index finger, and
Fuck.
going from like, oh fuck, I can't play anymore to
Yeah.
like having to maneuver my pinky around a little bit more, getting that moving.
Dude,
was
I remember. I think I don't know if it was grade 10 or grade 12. I did a full end of year music project. It was like a culminating activity, where you had to pick one musician and just do a big deep dive. And mine, who I chose, was Django Reinhardt. which was he lost the two fingers in a train fire, right?
Oh,
So he only had two. He played all these insane gypsy jazz lines, which that I'm a pretty big fan of, and that's one of the things I discovered in my high school years of listening to a lot of different music, was how much of a fan I was of that music. But being able to play these insane jazz lines with just two fingers on the left hand, right? So yeah, no, I feel you for that. It's always weird, coming up with these
yeah.
weird alternatives for being able to play, given how broken the human design is.
A big thing that I wanted to talk about, because I was very curious on the whole process, was that you have your own signature guitar by Zeru.
Zeru, yeah.
Um, while going through that process of making it, what were things that were mandatory for you to have on the guitar, and some things you wanted to leave out?
It's a good one to talk about. For me, it was definitely a collaborative process with the CEO, CJ, at Zeru, who I met at NAM my first year going, and he's a close friend. I would definitely say mentor to some levels as well. Great guy. And when you're developing something like this, it's the same as creating a piece of music with another musician, right? There's input on both sides. There's
Yeah,
limitations in the medium, and that being creating a guitar, and as well as what you're working with, right? It's not like a song where I'm like, I have the utmost unlimited palette to create. I can't just pick 20
yeah,
random woods to put in this guitar without it costing like $200,000 or something,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it really was a collaborative process on what the end result was and what our capabilities were at the time, um, especially with such a newer company, because I when I started working with CJ, I don't even know if the first guitar was available yet. When I started talking with CJ, the first prototype wasn't even released. He was just showing it to people, and I was super excited and super passionate about what he was doing with the company at the time. That I felt the drive to jump on board, and as much as it's an investment on my end to be able to represent Zeru, they're also investing in me, right? So
yeah,
it's it's very very collaborative in, or sorry, mutual, I should say, in uh, besides money, even just investment as far as time, attention, dedication, and mutual growth, right? Because all of these people,
hmm,
so I would say, sorry, not all, because I can't speak for a bunch of music companies. Is like the people creating these instruments are musicians, are artists, are creatives, right? They're not just people who have a side hustle that turned into something bigger, right? These are passionate people who
yeah,
care about the industry. So that being said, getting into designing it, right? It was already like there's this beautiful body shape, great blank design, and it's as simple as, hey, let's get you one of these rolling, right? And so a big thing for me was getting lace pickups in them, because of both how they sound, but also how green they are, as far as um
yeah,
their open-mindedness for creating a better product. They use like I believe, I could get the metrics wrong, but it's somewhere between 80 and 90% less copper wire in their pickups for their death buckers, as well as I think they almost use 100% recycled metals as well. They are very very green as
very
far as their
nice.
pickups go, and that's something that I was really passionate about, getting involved in, as far as like what met my sonic needs, as well as something to believe in passionately. So having a collaborative thing with Lace, which I had already worked with before, working with Zeru, just on some basic internet collaborations as far as promotion goes.
Mm,
Using their pickups was a big thing, and of course the aesthetics for that time, which was of course like I wanted a Buckeye Burl thing to commemorate my influences, but also get the red in there, as that was a big part of my branding. Um,
yeah,
and just having, yeah, those aesthetics, and as of now, literally tomorrow, I guess I could even talk to you about this because it's probably not even released yet. But with the 2.0, which I'll call it, of my signature Zeru guitar is releasing either from recording this either tomorrow or the day after. So that's really really cool. So you
Very
get
nice.
internal sweepstakes. No, I don't know. There's yeah, I'm really proud of that. So it's pretty much the evolution of what that was. Now that we're able to be a lot more flexible with the palette, right? Because there's
Hmm.
limitations for depending on the manufacturer that you're working with that guitar company. But since the initial inception of the 1.0, we have been able to meet a lot of both CJ's expectations and my expectations more for what the future guitars will be. And for this
Gotcha.
one, again, a big thing for me was ebony fretboards. I'm a big fan of ebony fretboards in both how I personally think they sound and feel, but also the aesthetics on how they look. But yeah, we actually, yeah, we're releasing that tomorrow. It's yeah, we're sticking with the 7 string for now, but yeah, my playing has expanded into a lot more six as well as 8 string material. However, we're also releasing that with a signature lace pickup, which has, I believe, twice the output of the previous Death Buckers. So I'm going to be pushing a lot more gain into amps with them. So it's just a higher quality manufacturer, and I'm really excited for the guitars that are coming out. But yeah, again, I already when I was working with these companies, it's like I'm a fan of these guitars, whether it be Zero or
Hmm.
even some other guitar companies that I work with. It's like I'm a fan of guitar. I just love guitars, and I have ideas and I have
Yeah.
wants, and it's finding a middle ground of what everyone's acceptable, like capable of doing, and uh and just going crazy from there, right? And yeah, I feel honored and lucky to play these instruments every single day and to be able to use them as tools and hopefully get these tools in other people's hands has been really really cool. But yeah, no, ebony fretboards, lace lace pickups, and minimalism if possible, when possible, and I do like my red color schemes for sure. I'm a simple man to
Absolutely.
please, I can't lie.
Kind of talking, you were kind of saying how you're using them as tools, and I have this question.
Hmm.
In your opinion, do you see your gear as tools or extensions of your personality slash your body?
Right, I see what you're saying. I think in an underwhelming answer, unfortunately, is both. I think in a way it's the same thing whether it's like clothing. It's like this, I want the thing to express myself, but it's also like again, it is a tool no matter what you're working with because like I love
Hmm.
keeping my guitars in good condition. I like taking care of my guitars, and that's restringing, make sure the frets are all good, polishing. I like making sure my guitars are maintained, but I never ever want them to just be in a glass case or
Yeah.
or or just because in a sense, especially as I said, it's a collaborative function, but these are in some sense pieces of art. I don't know how
Hmm.
quite as far as like the whole Fender situation going on where they're suing other guitars because they
Yeah.
think the body shape is a legal definition of art. But that being said, they are tools for the arts medium, right? That's a big distinction for the creation process because if you get too focused on the instrument itself, I think that's when sometimes you can write too cerebral, right? Because you're thinking about the
Yeah.
instrument itself, you're thinking about the technicality versus the emotions you're trying to draw in your art. But I think it's both because like I would feel naked without having a guitar, right? I just released
Yeah.
a new project with my close friend and longtime collaborator Nick Laduca, and this new band called Lavender. And I'm on vocals for this for lead vocals. And there was a genuine point where I was considering not playing guitar live for this act, even though I
Mm.
I recorded a good half percent of the guitars. It was like I was considering it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it because it would just feel wrong without having that what feels like an extension of myself. Where it's like, oh, I'm literally standing on stage without one of my arms is what it would feel like. But again, yeah, I'm sorry to be a little underwhelming, but it's definitely both for
No.
me. I used to when I
Yeah.
was a younger, it was like these guitars have I used to name my guitars, right? I don't name them now.
Yeah.
I'm not as cool as a lot of other people where you give each one a name or something. But now they're just yeah, they're tools in my arsenal that you get really comfortable with, right? Because at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
are the person that's bringing it to life, right? It's like it's the same thing with an artist. It's like how much are you going to idolize your pencil that you're working with?
Very, very great answers. I'm down the same boat as you, where I kind of see them as both. Like
Hell yeah,
I have
man.
a guitar that I do have named, and it's the first one I
Right.
ever built myself.
I get that too. I still have my first electric, and I gave that one a name, and it's still very sentimental to me, and it's that way. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then at the same time, like, they are tools. You have to bring out the noise and
Yep.
express those emotions through that tool. So I definitely see both sides like you do. You were talking about how you're coming out with all these new projects and everything like that, and you have some amazing songs out like Light Pollution, Sage and Cigar, and Sado, and many more. What are some fears that you carry with you into new projects,
Mm,
whether that be like creative side or deadline side or anything like that?
mm. So definitely fears as far as doing that, and it's never good, yeah, to approach going into it, but you do have to weigh pros and cons, and when it's the solo thing, it's always it's I and it's hard, but it's easy. It's easy because I have full control, and if anyone is to blame, it's myself, right? It's as simple as that. And
Mm,
that's a double-edged sword. And it can be kind of problematic, right? Because if you are somewhat of a perfectionist, you want everything to be exactly the way it is. But with a collaborative process, things actually surprisingly, at least for me, sometimes move a lot quicker because it's an external thing, right? It's like a team of people coming together to create something unique. And the biggest fear, honestly, is just the people that you work with and maintaining healthy working relationships as well as professionalism and all these different things to be able to make sure everyone is respected as well as yourself is being respected on all ends. And then of course the give and take that comes with being involved with a lot of musicians, because in the industry that we're in, everyone is somewhat of a character, even myself for sure. I would say everyone, there's a lot of personalities, right? That's just the industry we're in, right? And there's
yeah.
nothing wrong with saying that, right? We all have everyone is human though. We all have our good shit and our bad shit, but be able to maintain friendships, professional relationships, in those collaborating with other people, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all musicians. We all want to make great art. We don't like thinking about the business side, but um, as far as that, it really is just the fear of making sure that everyone is on the same page for that what the actual project is about. Like, what's the goal? What are the expectations for every person that's involved, right? As far as what you do and what everyone else does and how you affect each other, and what happens when, you know, oh shoot, I didn't copyright this song. Now we're not getting money from this tune. Or oh shoot,
Mm,
we didn't make any money on this one show as a local band, and now the whole tour is kind of offset, and now you're running into a financial problem. These are random
yeah.
scenarios that could have happened in any project for any musician in any band, right? But these things are what actually at the end of the day, like, separate projects from succeeding or failing. And more than ever nowadays, again, with the state of the music industry, with AI technologies uh making everything more expensive in the entire world,
Yeah.
but also just the how unaffordable everything is in life. It's just there are so many reasons for these different projects to not succeed, right? So that being said, the greatest fear is it not maintaining, and whether that be uh, personal, professional relationships, or how things are handled as far as the business side, right? But it's always going in with the passion first, right? Because if that's not there,
Yeah.
like it's not gonna survive, like in every single way. It's just like I want to do these things, right? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
invested into these projects, like whether I'm getting hired for session work, recording for a random artist, or I'm uh trying out for a band where I tour with the band for 3 months, and then we're like, you know what? I like the music, I like the people. I'll be a part of your project. It's all handled differently, but there's always that passion there, and there's always that drive to be able to be like, oh, I like this enough that I could weather this through the hard times and the good times.
So kind of going down the same rabbit hole of making music and everything like that. In 20 years from now, when someone discovers your music, what do you hope they feel from listening to the music, and what's the message you want to be portrayed?
That's a good one. That's hard because in 20 years, I don't know if I'll be the same human because I'm not the same guy I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. That's a good
Yeah.
one. But if me now, me at how old I am now, if I said, what my goals were, because everything now is honestly, it's much more from an emotional place. Like I want the music to be very visceral as far as whatever emotion it's portraying. Like I don't want it to be dull. I don't want it to be mundane. I don't want to give you any emotion. I want if I'm writing something sad, I want you to feel sad. If I'm writing something angry, I want you to feel like you want to fight someone. Like that's
Hmm.
ultimately what I want to do. But when it's all said and done, um I hope in 20 years for that when someone listens to it is that they feel the the emotion very, very strong, and that they see the dedication it takes to get to that point, in
Yeah.
loving your craft, in loving the art form. And hopefully I can inspire someone to the same degree that my heroes inspired me at the end of the day.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think that's the whole goal for anybody that gets into music is like to emotionally touch their audience and get
Yeah,
them to kind of follow their dreams and passions and stuff like that. And I definitely see where you're coming from on that.
hell yeah, man.
You are both a very talented musician and a very successful content creator. How do you keep the algorithm from shaping your art and shaping your music?
That's a tough one. That is a great one. At the end of the day, it will. Like, unfortunately, and I don't say this in a way where it's like, oh, I'm gonna write a song for the algorithm. That's not what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
these thoughts do happen when you're in a creative room, right? Um,
Hmm.
because uh, when people try and sometimes just separate the art from the business, it's not always gonna happen. Like, the content creation in the way you understand to say it bluntly, like a modern consumer, right? And I say this as myself, right?
Yeah.
Like I consume a lot of short form content. I know my attention span has been dwindled probably in the past 5 years since
Yeah.
the effects of brain rot. Like, no, this is true, right?
Yeah, it
How
is.
people's attention span are nowadays. um it does inform the creative decisions you will make for even yourself, right? If you are a person that loves, you know 30-minute prog songs, which is sick. I don't have the attention
Yeah.
span for that. I listen when I was a kid and I listened to Octavarium the first time. I was like, crazy. This is so long, right? I don't have the attention span for that
Yeah.
nowadays, unless it's live. Unless I'm seeing Dream Theater live, which I love doing. It's a
Yeah.
total performance. It's a total crazy domination of being able to memorize and perform that much music. But I don't want to put on that record because I don't have that attention span nowadays. So understanding what
Yeah.
I want, understanding the emotion that I feel in the moment, and let that affect how everything goes, right? Because whether it's the sorry, and this goes back to my other point of how, because I started with, oh, how the business affects the music. It's really the music affecting the business as well, as far as where that emotion is coming from, right? Because even when I'm working with
Absolutely.
students as far as songwriting goes, You have to find the vibe or the aura or the initial idea, and not even idea, but the feeling. If I'm able to literally just play two chords that give me a deep emotion, and I'm able to connect that to something in my life, I'm able to create a song around that, and then that will inspire the content, because I know as much as people don't want to admit that there is an art form to content creation. For me, there is a little bit of both, because they're both, I got to be honest, they're both draining. Like, to make art, I feel
Yeah.
exhausted after making art. To make content, I feel exhausted after making content, right? But if I'm making art, then I have to figure out how I'm going to market it and how can I maintain doing that without burning out, right? Because it's going to be
Yeah.
different for whether I'm marketing, a guitar product that I use versus like if I'm trying to connect with people with my music, in basically
Hmm.
meeting people where they're at with how content is. Because really, it's a currency of attention. That's all social media is nowadays. And unfortunately, you are going to have, if you always want to honor that inner voice, there are times where you're going to have to come across that decision and be like, I made this really sick piece of art.
Yeah.
This is for me. I don't think I should release this because this isn't going to meet the audience where they're at. That is the hard decision that sometimes you have to make, because sometimes you make good music and sometimes you realize this isn't going to connect the with the modern consumer how it is. And as far as the discoverability, right? Because I know some people could hear
Hmm.
these things and feel outraged by it possibly, because if you are already a fan of Dream Theater, you are going to have the expectation of that. But if you're listening
Yeah.
to my music for the first time in a short form algorithm where really I only have your attention for 3 to 4 seconds, I can't I can't do the same thing Dream Theater would, because you're not already a fan of me, right?
Yeah.
And that's honestly where it goes. So I try, and the main caveat for it is honestly uh the relationship you have with burnout as far as creatively, as well as the business side as far as content creation, right? I genuinely, and I hope this reveals some stuff to some people considering getting into content creation. You have to balance things in your mental health, because I still, like, I'll try and have a Saturday off, but my mind will be stressed out for hours thinking I should be creating and
Yeah.
posting content. Like, genuinely cortisol up. My body can't relax, and I have to turn off my phone. I can't even check notifications because my mind is going to start thinking about those things. Um, and that is what is more of a concern, rather than my art influencing the business or the business influencing my art. Because in the modern world, it's almost part of the same pot, right? There's a little bit mixed in
Hmm.
everything, because that's part of the process. I love the business
Yeah.
side of it. I enjoy meeting people where they're at, because there's a psychology behind that. And literally, again, it all comes down to the emotions you're feeling and how you want to be met, because I'm not always in the mood to find new songs. I don't always want to listen to music, but I do. There's are times where I'm like, I really want to find new music, there
Yeah.
are those times. And it's weird because, um a lot of new and upcoming artists basically have to trick their people into listening to their music. That is the most polite way to say it. And I'm not shaming them for that. I'm just making an
No.
observation. And like, because of projects that I work with do that, right? It's basically being like,
Yeah.
oh, I got your attention. Now here's this thing. And that's how it is nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah,
definitely is that way. And I kind of have questions off the dome.
for sure.
Especially like since we had COVID and everybody was in their houses, and like
Hmm.
how TikTok has like reshaped the way of becoming a content creator or a musician. Do you
Yeah.
definitely feel like you're fighting trying to get ahead of other people, or
Mm.
trying, you kind of get what I'm saying a little bit?
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. It's not other people. It's definitely just because there's so much noise. If you were starting around the same time I did in uh 2019 when COVID hit, like I was making 3 videos a day minimum. Like I was posting
Yeah.
3 individual different videos a day. And I had the time for that because, it was COVID. But also,
Yeah.
you know, TikTok didn't go through as many changes as it had yet. So there was so much opportunity for growth because it's so weird. Because there was a time on TikTok where I was like, oh, is that 35,000 followers on TikTok? But I was at 1,000 followers on Instagram. Then all of a sudden,
Hmm.
I jumped to 15,000 on Instagram, but didn't grow on TikTok. And then all of a sudden, I grew on TikTok, but wasn't growing on Instagram. So it's all I'm
Yeah.
saying is all of the platforms were doing different things for organic growth. And again, I'm speaking from my experience as one person, as one content creator, because every single person has a different experience with it for
Yeah.
both the style of content creation and who they are as a person and as a brand. Um, but the growth factor is so different now. If I was like literally just starting now, you would absolutely have to be to say you'd have to be kind of doing like almost slimy stuff to get attention, like in a way where
Hmm.
you're just like, this isn't about the music, or just like literally like shock value, like just thinking about shock
Yeah.
value, right? Just thinking about shock value in the way, the attention grabbing is. But there was a lot, and it happens with any new media, right? Because really what we're talking about is the boom of short form content, right? Like before then, it was
Yeah.
just like if you were on YouTube as a content creator, getting into YouTube, if you started in the like literally 2010, 20 to 2015 as a YouTuber in the guitar space, you would have had a much easier time because it was new, right? Because it was new
Yeah.
to create
Absolutely.
guitar content on YouTube. Like how I wish, like, bro, I was like 8 years old. I wish I was making guitar content,
Yeah.
not playing GTA 5. Like I was. But yeah, no, I definitely like. There's always that. Well, that to answer more of the question about almost the word competition too. I'm always of the mindset is like we all have room at the top. That's always been my mindset, but financially that doesn't always justify that perspective. But
Absolutely.
you can't let the natural hustle prevent you from congratulating your friends or your peers, or when you see someone doing success, is to be like, wow, that's amazing, and not feeling any sort
Hmm.
of jealousy or anything, because that will eat you up, and that will deter you, right? It's the same thing for, like, forget content creation, forget trying to grow. It's the same thing with being good at your instrument, right? You're seeing someone do so well, but you're not that good. You're not as good as them. You could either be like, wow,
Yeah.
they put in a ton of work. They have done an ungodly amount of dedication that it's gone to another level. I'm sorry, one moment. Hey Greg,
No,
I'm
you're all
just
good.
I'm just on a meeting. I'm sorry. It's okay. Yeah, yeah. No worries. So I totally lost my train of thought a little bit, but
Oh, you're all
uh
good. You're all
did
good.
I answer your question?
Absolutely. Like, I definitely. It's such a gray area where, like, the way that the internet is today than it was back then is it's a whole new playground
Yep.
of how we're working around here.
Yeah, and it's always changing too. Unfortunately, it's not the nature of, oh, I figured it out, right? It's because it's evolving
Yeah.
day to day. Both literally the algorithm is evolving day to day, but also consumer expectations, as well as all the, like, life is changing every single day. Again, like, I hate to always bring up AI, but we're going through a million changes so fast.
So, kind of going on the topic of starting up new things, you
Mm,
helped start up Shredfest in Canada.
yes.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in making Shredfest happen, and what were some of the big things you learned from that experience?
For Shredfest, it was always a natural drive to do something um, that I was passionate about within my means, right? To just do what's intended for music, and that's bring people together, do some good stuff, right? As far as challenges, it always ravels down to just time and money. unfortunately, right? As far as being able to put those things up. Like I wish I had 1,000 hours in a day to keep growing this thing
Yeah.
because I always want each year to be better and better and have bigger artists. But really, it's like genuinely like this is like as the CEO of Shredfest, as we started it as an official non-for-profit organization, it was it was always a challenge to be able to fund things, right? And as a new non-for-profit, right, to be able to
Mm.
get investments, like just to be able to afford the ever increasing venue costs and whatnot. But not to sound super negative or anything, because at the end of the day, again, if you have that passion to do something, you will be satisfied with whatever level you're able to achieve because I enjoy
Absolutely.
doing it. I enjoy doing something good. And realistically, like I do have another thing to say actually, unfortunately, is there's a surprising amount of artists who don't want to do charity gigs. And that's like
Yeah.
and I don't want to say that's not necessarily um a money thing or a personal thing where they don't agree with whatever charity we're working with, whatever it may be, it does seem like there is a surprising amount of whether it's both from international bands trying to like be like, hey, like I'll pay you, like what's your rate? You know, sometimes we don't even get answers back, but that's also part of just being more of a role of a booker, not necessarily an artist, right? There's a lot of roles that I play in both these acts, musically, but as well as Shredfest, that I have to serve and maintain. But it has been a challenge to be able to get bigger artists, even if you're willing to pay them. Like like to a certain amount, right? Because I can't pay
Yeah.
everything, or else I wouldn't be able to pay the charity anything, right?
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
it goes. But surprisingly, on the other hand, like again, not to be all negative, but there's a lot of bands who do come up to me and be like, "Hey, I want to play Shredfest. Like this is sick." Right? Let me hop on. So there's a bit of both. There's like sometimes like, oh, I can't get anyone. Oh, but I do have these people asking. So it's a little bit of back and forth depending on the time of year and what year it is, right? I actually
Yeah.
again, like you can include this in the video when you have it posted because I'll probably announcing it. I'm announcing like probably within the next 2 weeks because this is announcement time. Shredfest will be July 4th. So I'm just planning and getting everything finalized for Shredfest 4, which I believe is the reshredding or something. My buddy Jordan Wave is also very fun with the marketing for it, which he's also a board member of the non for profit, which is cool. But again, just being able to try and attempt to do something good, because at the end of the day, from my perspective, if it's one gig out of the year, I should be able to survive with
Yeah,
without making the
yeah.
profits off of one gig a year, right?
Kind of going into a little bit of a deeper conversation. What's a question about your journey that no one has asked you but you wish they would?
It's a question that I wish no one has asked me. That's a hard one because then I'm basically trying to ask myself the perfect question at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What's one question I wish I would be asked? I guess if I was to open up my mind to be able to answer that in a non-ego way would be to how could I make that question serve whoever's watching the most, and that would be, what's the goal? And that's always the question you got to bring yourself back to, and that is, for me, the answer to that would, of course, be, just being happy with what you're doing, right? And it's as
Absolutely.
simple as that, right? Because whether it's the business side or just trying to, serve your ego as far as like social media numbers or in-person venue numbers or accolades, it's always going back to, oh, why did I become a guitar player? What is that passion, right? Like I love going back and playing, the old Avenged Sevenfold songs because I feel that excitement that I did when I was 13 that pushes me to be happy just actually being able to play guitar every day and mentor people via teaching or inspiring, hopefully online, and doing some good with the music that I do. So I guess what is the goal? Because there, and I would hope any bigger act would be asked this, but I feel like a lot of guitar players honestly would just be like, that's a weird question. What do you mean, what's the goal? I just want to,
Yeah.
play guitar better and better till the end of the day. And there is somewhat of an odd, almost growth mentality in the same way technology is, right? In the same way, I feel a lot of entrepreneurs in tech, in the tech world, where there's like growth for the sake of growth. And I feel like there is some of that in especially the guitar niche, like now, like maybe music as a whole, but in the guitar niche where I basically operate the most, is that there is a lot of getting better for the sake of getting better, innovating for the sake of innovating, where it's like, am I making better music, or am I just innovating for the sake of innovating, and am I grabbing more attention, right? And I'm not bashing anyone's art
Yeah.
form. Again, I'm just saying, like, sometimes I feel like there is just growth for the sake of growth. Like, what is the goal, right? And I see some people answer some things like, "Oh, I fear being average," right? I've heard that
Yeah.
quote from a couple different guitar players, and unfortunately, we are all average. We're all just people. We're all humans. We
Yeah.
all we all eat, sleep, breathe, and shit. Like, it's at the end of the day, to revisit not just the goal of, oh, I want to be the best guitar player in the world, I want to be this most successful business entrepreneur in the music realm, but how can I uh, have fulfillment that isn't external, and just in the physical realm, or in the just endless evolution realm, right? Where how can you be
Yeah.
satisfied? So when you reach 60, you're not like, oh, I'm seeing all these new guitar players coming up with the best thing in the world. I'm depressed now, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I want to be just as happy now along the entire process, and that takes work. It doesn't just come naturally. You can't just let, happiness like stumble onto your lap, right? Sometimes you
Yeah,
get lucky,
absolutely.
I guess, but you have to work towards those things. So yeah, what is the goal? That's to get philosophical.
Very nice. Very nice. I've got two more questions for you, and
Two more.
then you're
Sweet.
set free. You're out. You're out of here.
I'm enjoying
Um,
it so much though.
the first one I have kind of a challenge for you, if
Okay,
you're down
challenge.
for
Let's
it.
go. Of course.
You have a segment on your social medias called "Rating and Roasting My Followers' Guitar." I have
Indeed.
5 guitars sitting right next to me,
Oh
and I
Lord.
want you to give me your most honest rating and roastings.
Okay, let's go. Do I have to do one by one, or do you just show me everyone and then I'm gonna do it at the end?
I'll show you all of them, and
Yeah,
then
let's
just
see
give me
them. I
a
want you to, and I
total at the
want you to
end.
tell me. Oh yeah, I want you to tell me the everything you know about that guitar too. Like,
Gotcha,
tell me
gotcha.
the make and model and stuff.
So the first one is a Epiphone Hummingbird Pro. This is my newest acoustic guitar that I got. Next one is a Butterscotch Squire Telecaster. I don't an EC256 LTD in the yellow color. Rosie, my parts caster that I built,
Mm,
put all the parts on. And then the final one will be my Tim Henson
oh
TOD10.
Lord. Oh Lord. It's crazy being a modern guitar player, but and then seeing that. Okay, you got to understand, the secret behind these series is actually just saying the first thing that comes to my head. That is actually
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
the trick, and also not trying to be too Canadian. Sometimes I'm always too polite on these series. Like, genuinely, like, I have to,
Yeah,
before I
yeah,
record, I have to hype myself up and be like, okay, I kind of have to be a little bit more of an asshole. How can I because that's what people want. That's what the people want. Um,
yeah.
I would definitely say, so I got to start with the nice stuff, and I say I like actually, I like the LTD. I think that's a unique LTD, and as far as Les Pauls go, I like it. I like the parts caster, because I think everyone should have a good Strat, especially because it's not a Fender one right now, because I think some people will want to hang you if it wasn't a parts caster, if it was just
Yeah.
regular Fender. But for your other guitars, if being mundane was the goal, it's a 10 out of 10. So
Hell yeah.
no, but yeah, no, it's a solid collection. Although I typically like to default to 7.5. That's always my safe number. Because that's a lot. I give a lot of like sevens. But I will
Yeah.
say, you should have got the Scott LePage and not the Tim Henson guitar. That's what I will say. That's what.
Hell yeah. Final question. Do you have anything you want to shout out? Let the people know what's going on in your life.
All right, I want to shout out my band Napoleon. We're gonna be going on tour the end of June. There'll be a lot of dates announced. I want to shout out my new band Lavender. We just released a song Live a Lie. I want to shout out CJ and Zeru, which we're releasing a brand new 2.0 of my signature guitar. And yeah, I shout out you. Thank you for having me on the Harmonic Convo.
Thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here to get to talk to you and pick your brain a little bit. I've been such a huge fan of you since like 2020, the COVID days. So
Thanks,
just
man.
kind
That's
of a
super
full
kind of you,
circle
dude.
moment.
Hell yeah,
Thank you,
dude.
buddy.
You're a super kind guy and great interviews, honestly. Great questions. And I love your approach to this. You made me feel very welcome. And keep doing this, man. I know it's any sort of content thing is always a grind to get stuff, but keep doing it. Keep sharing your passion. And yeah, great job, man. Thanks for having this conversation with me.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Right. You have a good day, my friend.